Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to deal with demotivation and how to deal with the setbacks that come after you've made a goal. So I'm doing this at this time because it's February and January 2026 we would have made goals, and then there would have been some setbacks that would have come up that might have affected your consistency or your ability to carry out your goals. So, I want to talk about this part of the journey when you're trying to stay disciplined on your goals. Firstly, this is normal and this will happen to everyone. In the beginning, you might have felt motivation, you might have felt energized about your goals, but it might come a time where you don't feel that motivation anymore. And that is normal because feelings are not permanent. You don't always feel motivated to do something. And in the case with goals, you're not always going to feel motivated. And so you don't depend on that emotion. You don't depend on you feeling motivated to carry out your goals. This is a very important part of discipline, which is that you continue to be consistent and you continue to turn up even when the days are hard. If you have a goal to go to the gym and work out, you're not going to feel motivated every day. That's what you should have in the back of your mind whenever you're making any kind of goal. You should know that you need to prepare for the days that you're not going to feel motivated. How are you going to deal with the days when you don't feel like getting up? What are the actions you're going to take, or what are you going to do to make sure that you continue to turn up? And and you have to realize it is all about discipline. It is never about motivation. To achieve your goals, you need to be disciplined. You need to turn up every day. And it is the turning up on the worst days, it is turning up on the days that you don't want to, that truly matter. It isn't the days that you feel motivated. Those days you feel like doing it, so you're doing it. You're tested on your commitment to that goal on the days that you don't want to turn up. That is the most important time to turn up for yourself and for your goals. And it is in this part, it is in the days that you don't feel like doing it and you still turn up, is where you make the most progress. You start making progress when you start turning up the days that you don't want to. You are consistent even when you don't feel like it. This is what is rewarded. It isn't, you're not rewarded for the days that you turn up when you feel motivated and when you feel like it. It is turning up on the days that you don't feel like it. So when you look at it like that, you know that when you're making goals, you know that it isn't about turning up on the days that you feel motivated. So it's not about how you start, it's all about how you stay consistent, how you stay disciplined. And it is a test of how much do you really want it. If you really want it, how much are you going to work towards that? How far are you willing to go? How far are you willing to sacrifice yourself to get what you want? You need to realize that the setback is supposed to be there. You're supposed to have setbacks in your goals. And so when you're creating goals, how will you prepare? You can't really predict certain setbacks. There are certain setbacks that you know might occur because of your habits, because of the kind of person that you are. You know what your personal difficulties are. So you should prepare for your personal setbacks and for your personal weaknesses. And when you face a setback, you should know that that is supposed to be there. You should consider it your challenge. It's trying to test you how far you're willing to go. It's trying to see what you're willing to do to achieve this goal. That is what the setback is there for. It's not there to tell you to go off course or to quit or to stop. It's there to challenge you and see if you can get back up after falling and after you stumble. So let's say we're in the middle of a month or we're in the middle of the journey. How do we get back up after a setback or after we've given up? Even if you've given up, it's not the end. You might give up because you think that you don't feel like it, but that is now the reason why you should get up. If you've given up on your goal after small minor inconvenience or just because you just don't feel like it, that is the setback, that is the challenge that you need to confront and overcome. So it's not the problem. The problem isn't that you've given up. The problem is that you don't get up after you've given up or after you've quit. It's that you allow your emotions to dictate your behavior. But what you're gonna do is, after you've quit, you're gonna then get back up and tell yourself that no, I'm not gonna allow my emotions to dictate my actions and to dictate my life. I will dictate my life, and I will dictate my life by being disciplined and continuing with my goal. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, we like to start our goals when it's the beginning of the year or the beginning of a month or the beginning of a week. We like to start at the beginning of something. And so if you're in the middle, so let's say we're now in February and you've had a stumble in January and now you're wondering, okay, how am I going to get back up in the middle of February? You're not going to count, you're not going to wait for the beginning of anything. You're going to start immediately on your goals again. And this is not wasted for two reasons. First of all, the issue is about building the habit. So it's not about building the habit when Monday comes or when March comes or when the new year comes. It's about, how can I build this habit? And so if you look at it as building a habit, it doesn't need to start at the beginning of anything. Even if you start now and you fumble, it's still helpful because you're still developing that skill. And with any skill that you're going to build, with any goal that you need to achieve, you're going to have the stumble and you're gonna fall and then you're gonna have to get back up. So that needs to happen anyway. So it's better that you start doing it right now in the middle, because then maybe by March you'll be able to be consistent, and that is when you'll be able to turn up every day. Maybe it's in March that you're going to be able to do it consistently. It might be that you start again in March, you fumble, and then you're back to square one. So it's better to fumble than just restart immediately, because you need to build that habit anyways. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that if you give yourself a number, so let's say you set this goal for 100 days or 90 days. If you are in the middle of a month, if you tell yourself, okay, I have to do this for the next 100 days or for the next 30 days, all you're doing is counting the 30. You're not counting by the month, you're counting by your own number. And I think the number of days helps you to remove that feeling that you need to start at the start of a new month. You just know that actually I need to do it for 100 days. So now it doesn't really matter about the month. And especially with 100 days, for me that works, or that has worked for me previously, because 100 days is not 3 months, it's actually more than 3 months. So if I start in the middle of February, it's still okay because I still need 10 days. Yeah, so it did help me. So let's say you want to do this for 30 days, or you want to do something for 10 days, even just giving yourself the goal of 10 days. It doesn't really matter if you start at the start of the month or if you start in the middle of the month. You're just doing it for 10 days. So when you're setting the goal, when you write a deadline to this goal, write it in terms of number of days rather than writing it as months. Do it as days. When you do it as days, you're just ticking off the days, you're not looking at the months. So it helps to continue on your goals if you're in the middle of a month or if you're in the middle of the year. And it stops you from waiting the next month or the next year to start on your goals again. Another thing that can motivate you is knowing how discipline affects your life. When you become disciplined in one area, so let's say you have a few goals. Let's say you have a goal to go to the gym and work out regularly. If you're able to be consistent in that goal, that will flow into other aspects of your life. This is the effect of discipline. If you bring it into your life, it doesn't just help you succeed in that area, it helps you succeed in other areas, and it even pushes you and tells you, actually, if I was able to be disciplined in this area, what's to say that I can't be disciplined in other areas? It just automatically gives you the ability to be disciplined in other areas. So discipline in one area will lead to discipline in another area. Once you're able to master one, you're able to master a few. So that is a way to motivate yourself when you're feeling demotivated. Just knowing that if I can just get disciplined in one area of my life, it will affect other areas of my life, and I will be able to be even more successful in other aspects. Another important mindset to have is that strength is not built without having weakness present. You can't build strength if you don't experience weakness. So when you're working out at the gym, although you're building strength, at that moment of building strength, you feel weak. So it is in the moment of feeling that weakness that you're actually building strength. And that is true of anything that you want. So let's say you want to be accepted. You have to face rejection. And it is in your facing of rejection, it is whilst you're facing rejection and post rejection that you're going to experience acceptance. So anything that you want to achieve, whether that's a relationship, whether that's health, fitness, whether that's finances, you have to experience the direct opposite. So if you feel weak whilst you're doing it, if you feel demotivated, that is what you need to feel. So let's just talk about demotivation. If you feel demotivated, you are supposed to feel demotivated and push through to feel motivated again. And that's how it works. It is that in the moment of weakness, you're going to develop that strength. In the moment that you feel like you want to quit, but you continue, you're going to bring success into your life. So it's a paradoxical thing, but that gives you a bit of hope that if you do feel weak, if you do feel demotivated, you are supposed to feel those feelings just so you can experience the opposite of that. And so discipline is never wasted, and we just need to trust the process and things will work out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful for anyone who's struggling with their goals, for anyone who's struggling with demotivation. Please like and subscribe.